Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and on this tutorial I'll be teaching us basic modeling. So as we go, I'll show you how to extrude an object, how to bevel an object, how to scale, how to rotate, and how to move an object. So let's kickstart. So the first thing you do when you open your Blender, you see a cube in here. So we can delete this cube by clicking delete on our keyboard, and the cube is out. So how to move your Blender screen, how to rotate your Blender screen, and how to zoom in and out. So by doing that, you hold your center mouse button. Your center mouse button is used to orbit your Blender screen. Your center mouse button. So you hold your center mouse button and try to rotate it. You see that we can rotate our screen. Now, how to move our Blender screen? You hold Shift and center button, your center scroll button. You hold Shift and your center scroll button, you can move it, or you can come to where we have this hand and you can also move it also too. So now to zoom in and out, you hold Control and your center button. So you can zoom in and out in your Blender screen, or you come to this point, we have this plus sign. You can zoom in and out, in and out, in and out. Okay, that's that for now. Okay, how to save your Blender file? To save your Blender file is very simple. You come to where we have this file, you click on the file and you go to save, or since it's a new file, let's click on save. So it takes us to this menu where we can either save on desktop or on document or on download on anywhere you choose to. So we can come to desktop and let's say I want to save it on my Blender Studio. So I can click on Blender Studio in here. So now I want to save on my Blender Studio, so I can type my project. Let me say my table model, and I say save Blender file. So once you have done that, come up here, you see where it says Blender user HP desktop saved in Blender Studio my table model.blend. This shows that your Blender file has been saved successfully. Okay, what I want to show you again is the manipulation tools. These are the manipulation tools. These are our move, these are our rotate, these are our scale. Now, how to add an object so we can use the manipulation tool to manipulate our object. Okay, there are two ways of adding an object into our Blender scene, and the first one is this way. You can come to where you have this add. If you click on the add, it shows you an add menu. So now we can come to mesh, click on mesh, and we come to cube. We click on cube. Now we have added an object into our Blender scene. So we can press delete on our keyboard to delete this first. There's another way to add again, like I said. The shortcut key to add an object is Shift A. So if you click Shift A on your keyboard, let's do Shift A. Shift A, this add menu will comes out, and we can come to mesh, click on mesh, and go to cube. Now we have a cube in our scene. So we can also add so many objects into our Blender scene. By doing that, first of all, I'll show you what we call cursor. This is the cursor sign. If you see here, this is our cursor. It's showing us there that our box is being selected. The cursor stays at the center point of origin in our Blender's screen. So how to move this cursor? Because where your cursor is where your object will come to rest. So if you hold Shift and right click, Shift while holding Shift, so you can right click on any part of your Windows screen. This allows your cursor to move around. Shift and right click, so you can move the position of your cursor. So let's move our position of our cursor here and bring an object to where our cursor is. So if we do Shift A again, we go to mesh and we select cube. You see our cube now comes to where our cursor is. So let's bring our cursor to this point, and let's hold shift and right click. Now our cursor is here. So if I do shift A, let me say mesh and say a cylinder. So now our cylinder comes to that point where our cursor is. So now we have one, two, three. We have three objects on our Blender scene. So now how to select more than one object is very simple. You hold shift and you left click on the object you want to select. So we select this, hold shift and select this by left clicking on it, and now we can move our object. So like I said, these two here is our manipulation tools. This first one here is our select tool. This one is our cursor. This one is our move tool. So if I select on this move tool and I select this box, I can move this box upwards on the z axis. The blue denotes the z axis, the red denotes the it denotes the x axis, and the y denotes the green line denotes the y axis. So let me delete this. So we can also move our cylinder on the x axis. This red line denotes the x axis. This green line on our grid denotes the y axis, and the blue denotes the z axis. So we can delete this by clicking delete on our keyboard. Now let's move this. So if you press G to grab, you can move your object anywhere. S while selecting your object, S to scale uniformly, arrow to rotate. So we can say G and X. That means we want to lock other axes and move only on our X axis. So if I say G to move and Y, that means I've locked my Z axis and my X axis. I can only move on my Y axis uniformly. So I can also do that with the rotate tool. The shortcut key for move is G. The shortcut key for scale is S. So I can say S on the X axis, then I click on X. So it scales on the X axis. So you can also scale from here also, but I prefer using the shortcut key to scale my object. So to rotate an object, the shortcut key for that is arrow. So if you say arrow, you can rotate an object. If you say arrow double times, if you click arrow double times, you can rotate 360. You can rotate to any form you want to rotate this object. So if I say arrow and Y, that means I'm rotating on the Y axis. If I say arrow and X, I'm rotating on the X axis. If I say arrow and Z, I'm rotating only on the Z axis, locking my X and Y axis. So that's how to use the manipulation tools to scale, rotate, and move your object. So now what I want to do, I want to create a simple table. So now is what we call edit mode. Let me push this up. Edit mode is what we call edit mode. If you go to the edit mode, that helps us to edit our object. Like it says edit mode, that means we want to edit our object. So there are two ways of going to the edit mode. You can come to this place here, you select this arrow downwards and say edit mode. Now we are on edit mode. Or you click on tab on your keyboard. So if you click on tab on your keyboard, tab, we've gone to the edit mode. If you click on tab again, we'll go back to the object mode. This first mode is called the object mode. So we have several modes. We have the object mode, we have the sculpt mode, we have vectors paint, weight paint, and texture paint. As we proceed, we'll be working on each and every one of them simultaneously. So to go to the edit mode, tab on your keyboard. Now we're on the edit mode. So what I want to show you is the vector selection, edge selection, and face selection. This is a vectors. A vectors is a point. A vectors is a point. These are vectors, and you can hold shift to select more than one vectors. If you hold shift, you can select more than one vectors. You can select more than one vectors. So if I select these vectors and select these other vectors, I can unselect these vectors also by holding shift and select the place I selected. Now we have unselect these vectors. To select it back again, while holding shift, you can select by left clicking on it. So you left click to select, you hold shift to select multiple vertices, and two vectors makes an edge. Two vectors makes an edge. So this is an edge, this is an edge. So we are in edge selection mode. Let's put our transform so you can see it properly. We are on edge selection mode, edge selection mode. And this is an edge. So you can move an edge, you can also scale an edge. So but you cannot scale one vectors. You can't scale one vectors. You can't scale one vectors. Okay, we're in vectors now. You can't scale one vectors. If you say S, we can't scale, but you can scale two vectors. Okay, so this is edge selection. The second one is edge selection. The third one is face selection. Face selection. So this is face, this is a face, this is a face. Let's do Control Z back. This is a face, this is a face, this is a face. To select more than one face, you hold shift to select multiple faces. Okay, now let's go straight to modeling. Okay, how to model an object. Okay, the first thing you should understand before modeling an object is the form of that object. So now we want to model a table. The form of a table looks like a cube. A table does not look like a cylinder or a sphere. So before you model something, try to understand the form and how the object looks like, so you can know what object, what mesh to bring into your scene. So that helps you to model very fast and very quicker, and you don't have to struggle too much to be able to model something. So now we want to model a table. First, let's delete this cube. Now let's bring in a cube. Let's model a table. So we do Shift A, we go to Mesh, and we say a cube, because a cube looks like a table. So now let's move our cube to this point, and let's go to edit mode. Like I said, you click tab on your keyboard. Now we are in edit mode. So to select all is A. If you click A on your keyboard, you've selected all of them. A to auto select. You press A again. So A to select all. So if you press A again, you've deselect all. A to select. If you press A twice, you've deselect all. So now let's go to our object mode. Let's say tab, back to our object mode, not our edit mode again. So now let's try to scale our cube looking like a table. So to scale, S to scale, let's scale on the X axis, X, little bit. Let's scale on the Y axis, S and Y. So scale on the Y axis. Now let's scale on the Z axis, S and Z. Now we scale on the Z axis. Now we can, okay, let's scale a little bit on the Y axis, X and Y. Let's make our table length to be longer. Okay, now this is pretty good for a table. Now let's go to the edit mode and let's click tab on our keyboard. Okay, tab. Now we are in edit mode. Now this is just like a plain flat cube. So we want to create legs on this table. So by doing that, we can come to our edge mode and we want to add some edge loops this way and this way. We want to add some edge loops crossing this face. So to add an loop cut, so we do Control arrow to add loop cut. We want to add a loop cut to this table. So Control arrow on your keyboard, you see a loop, a kind of a yellow loop, and we'll left click on it, left click first, and you will see a black arrow opposite, facing directly opposite each other. So this shows us that we can either move this loop cut here or here. Now we can move it to this point and let's left click to activate it. Now let's add another loop cut. Control arrow to add a loop cut. Now let's move it down to this place and let's left click to activate. Now let's rotate our screen by using the middle button. Like I said earlier, we can rotate our screen like this. Now we want to add another loop cut here and here. So Control arrow to add a loop cut. Then left click and gives us an option to move it So now let's move it down here. Now let's add another loop cut in this place. So you can say Control arrow. But first, if you scroll your middle button, it shows that we can add several loop cuts to this mesh. So, but we just want one. So you scroll down to one, you left click again, and let's move it to this point. And yeah, we are good to go. And now what I want to do, I want to show us how to extrude a face. How to extrude. So you can extrude a point, you can extrude edge, you can extrude a face. But this tutorial I'll be extruding a face. So how to extrude to create the legs. So we come to our face mode, click on our face selection mode. So now try to orbit your screen so we can see the bottom of this table, because this is the top of the table. Now try to orbit your screen like this. Hold shift to move down closer so you can see the bottom of the table. So now what I want to do, I want to extrude this region for the legs. So select one face, hold shift to select multiple face, and while holding shift select this face, and select this face. So now we want to extrude this region for our table legs. It's very simple. But before doing that, I want us to select all these faces. So to select face in a line, if you select this face and hold Control and you select this face, it sees that it selects face on all the faces on that line. So we can do that again. Select this face, hold Control, and we select this last face. So you see that it selects this face on this line. So if we hold Control again and select this face, it automatically selects all the faces on this line. If you hold Control again and select this face, it selects all the faces on that line. So we can hold Control again and select this face. So we've selected round. So now we want to extrude this face round, this face down. So if I say E on your keyboard is for extrusion. The shortcut for extrusion is E, or you come to this place that we have extrude region. If I come to this place that we have extrude region and click on it, we see a circle here. I can bring my mouse cursor there and drag that down. So now we have extruded these regions. Now we want to extrude. So now we can come here to deselect. And now we want to extrude the legs. We just extrude this kind of sort of kind of form. Now let's select this face, select this by holding shift, select this by holding shift, because we don't want to select on this line. So we hold shift to select those faces. So now we want to extrude. So the shortcut key to extrude is E. So if I say E on my keyboard, now we have made some extrusion. Now let's stop at this point. So here it is, a simple 3D table. So now we can press tab back to our object mode. So now we can see our table clearly. Okay, let me show you what we call overlays. I think I activated this earlier. That's why you can see my edge. So if you come to this point where we have overlays here, click on it. My geometry wireframe is on. So if I toggle this off, you won't see the edges. Maybe most of you have not seen your own edges. So this format is that we won't see the wireframes. But if we go back to our overlay again and click on wireframe, we'll see our edges properly and see the wireframe. Okay, I think this tutorial has helped us. You can like my page, you can share and make some comments. Please drop your questions, anything you want me to do. On our next tutorial, I'll be showing us how to bevel an object, how to create the cupboard, how to create handles, and how to create some spoons, some cups on our table. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and make some comments.